Lenny, can you stop sharing for a second so I can get this rolling? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the City of Milpitas' Energy and Environmental Sustainability Commission. Today is Wednesday, November 17th, and we have our virtual meeting that's continuing. Let's see. I'd like to call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you could join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and have a roll call of the attendance.
Okay. Can everybody hear me tonight?
We can hear you.
Great.
Yes, we do.
Great. Vice Chair Kong.
I'm here.
Okay, Commissioner Lingle. He has not joined yet. Okay. Commissioner Martinez is not here. Commissioner Salian.
Yeah,
Chair Press.
Here, and Elaine, your audio is breaking up just a little bit.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Shreve is not able to make it due to a work issue. Alternate Commissioner Admana. I don't see. Oh, somebody just joined. Who just joined? Oh, that's Tony. Okay. And alternate Commissioner Hogg.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Since we have some of our regular commissioners missing tonight, I'd like to seat alternate Commissioner Hogg as a voting member tonight.
Great.
And then let's move on to the approval of tonight's agenda that you received last week. Do I hear a motion to approve the November 17th, 2021 agenda?
Aye.
I'm sorry, there were several people that spoke there.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. Do I hear a second for the motion?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Salian. And Elaine, I guess we need to have a roll call vote on this.
Yes. Yes. So please give me your votes. Vice Chair Kong,
Aye.
Commissioner Salian,
Aye.
Chair Sexton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Hogg.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Moving on to the approval of the meeting minutes for our last meeting, which was just last week. So do I hear a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the November 9th meeting of this year?
Aye.
Commissioner Salian, you're making the motion to approve the minute. Thank you very much. Do I hear a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair Kong.
Great. And I'll go ahead with the vote. Vice Chair Kong,
Aye.
Commissioner Salian,
Aye.
Chair Sexton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Hogg.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now is the section for the public forum. Elaine, do we have any speakers?
Chair, there's no one as attendees, but I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate monitoring that. All right, let us move on to the announcements. And Councilmember Chua, you have some, you'd like to make your announcements and report also at this point, because I understand that you need to leave shortly before 7. So we want to make sure that we hear from you.
It's really going to be, hello everyone. It's really going to be very brief. It's good news. We got a donation pledge from Silicon Valley Clean Energy I am one of the board of directors there as a council representative, and they pledged $5,000 to be a gold donor for the Holiday Magic on Main Street. Yay!
Great, wonderful.
It is really amazing. I mean, we had that meeting the last week, I think, and I wrote a little few paragraphs, and I sent it to Elaine. I said, Elaine, add 2 or 3 sentences. I think I'm missing 2 or 3 sentences, and that was about 10 o'clock at night. And then I sent it to the CEO of Silicon Valley Clean Energy. And the next morning, I got the email and said, we'll be happy to be a sponsor. So congratulations to all of us. They know how we are very vocal about decarbonization. Fortunately for us, they're focusing on they're doubling their goal for 2022. They're doubling down on decarbonization. So what does it mean? So it means that they're going down to the customer level and really focus on the customers to do pilot projects to make sure that they're aware, they're educated, they're inspired to do decarbonization. So you're it, you guys. So I'm hoping, and I think I'm expecting that we will get a lot of grants and incentives from Silicon Valley Clean Energy, because you guys are so smart, so technical, so dedicated in preserving our environment.
Thank you very much. That's
We're
great.
happy.
Could I interrupt you just a little bit to
I'm
springboard?
done, Chair.
I'd like to springboard off of your comments regarding Silicon Valley Clean Energy. So it came to my attention that Silicon Valley Clean Energy has a community leadership group that this is an informal group that meets about once a quarter, where SVCE basically presents their information on the initiatives that they're pursuing and ask for some community feedback. And so I was asked if I was interested in attending. So I said I was, and Council Member Chua was very quick to say, well, gee, is there anyone else in Milpitas, particularly the commission, that the EESC would be interested in attending? And so Silicon Valley Clean Energy is willing. Normally it's one or just a few community members from each city, because of course you know that they cover many cities as well as the unincorporated Santa Clara County. And if anyone else is interested in attending, I believe that all the meetings are still virtual, to hear about Silicon Valley Clean Energy's initiatives. Please, let me or Elaine know, and we can put you in touch with a contact person that for that group. And but whatever I find out at that meeting, I will certainly be sharing with the commission. So just to let you know.
Chair.
Yes.
Chair, I forgot to add. Remember last meeting, I said the commission has a budget of $1,000 that we can do giveaways related to decarbonization. The last paragraph of my request to SVCE, I also asked for $1,000, so we won't touch the other $1,000 that we have. And Chair Patty actually has a lot of ideas on how to spend the $1,000. So SVCE is also looking into that to grant us $1,000. And there's a meeting, I think, between Chair Patty and Elaine to the community outreach to come up with an idea on how they can donate or give us grant of $1,000. And that would be a good venue for awareness and education for our residents if we get that $5,000, I mean, $1,000. So I'm looking at you guys to get that $1,000.
The meeting that's set up will certainly discuss it to sort of make the best use so that of that kind of funding, so that they'd be willing to contribute to our efforts. So thanks very much, Councilmember Chua. Do you have any other council
I'm sorry,
information?
Pat. Chair Sexton, one interruption. It looks like Commissioner Lingle has joined us and needs to be promoted. So Ron or Linda, if you guys, one of you can promote him into the panel, that'd be great. And I'm sorry for that interruption.
Oh, no, thank you very
I
much.
think I had to stop sharing my screen. It wasn't going through.
Okay. Hi,
Oh,
Commissioner
they're
Lingle.
there. There you go.
Yeah, glad you can join us. All righty. So back to Councilmember Chua, are there any other items that you'd like to share with us?
Please take advantage of joining the group because you learn a lot, I think, and they will learn a lot from you. And I think we are a valued member of that group. They listen to us, and one more or two or more people on that group would be outstanding. So please join that. I'm looking at all of you to join, actually. I said the whole commission, so please, Vice Chair, Commissioner Lingle, Commissioner Chris, Commissioner Jack, and who else am I missing? Please join. So that's it, and I'll see you next time, December. Yay.
Looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
One announcement, and I'm sure that's why Councilmember Chua needs to be very strict with her time tonight, is that after this meeting, there's actually an in-person celebration for the graduates of the Milpitas Civic Leadership Academy, and which I believe you're attending, Councilmember Chua.
Yes.
Okay, so please,
Anybody from the commission who's graduating tonight?
I don't know if anyone on the commission had attended that academy.
Oh, next time, please join that one too. That would be awesome.
Yes, I would think that that's a very interesting, I think it was an 8-week, 8 meetings.
9.
Reviewing the city of Milpitas departments and how the city works.
9 weeks.
9 weeks, okay, great.
There was one side note, Chair. Elaine did an outstanding job last night. She presented, and she'll tell you about it. Please share that because it's really important. And this is what we've been talking all along. And she finally presented it to the council last night with the support of Tony, of course. So
Okay.
I'll see you guys later. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Chua. And oh, please give the graduates that you see tonight our wholehearted congratulations on their participation in the Leadership Academy. And please extend our invitation to engage with this particular commission, as well as, of course, all the other commissions that they might be interested in with the city of Milpitas. Thank you.
They have to be exceptional to join this commission.
Okay, great.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, you guys are great. Thank you.
Yes,
Good
more
night.
the merrier. All right. Any other announcements? All right, then let's go ahead and move on to our business items. We have the next year's work plan that we got a lot of very good ideas last week, and now we want to sort of fine tune it. So Elaine has done a great job of slotting in the agenda topics for each month that we meet. So let's go ahead and start with January. And so yeah, we'll go over month by month. And I'll be asking questions as we go along. So January, we start off with the planning for the 2022, both the Earth Day events and all other possible community events. So I'm thinking here that together with talking about Earth Day, we would talk about the possibility of the citywide garage sale that had come up as an idea, and we didn't get around to talking about last year. Well, for the one thing, it was rather hard during COVID to do anything, including a garage sale. Then other community events, I would imagine would the litter pickup and the creek cleanup days would fall under that, as well as maybe another dumpster day. But anyway, that is the idea for that particular agenda topic. So the objective there is to brainstorm and begin the planning of the Earth Day, which actually will take about 2 months planning, because that occurs on April 22nd is the Earth Day each year. And then we should identify other possible community event opportunities. So I think that's a great way to start off the new year, is to have that agenda topic in January. Any comments on that particular agenda topic? All right, let's move on to the next one, which is again in January, discussion of a potential green gardening program. So the objective here is to discuss a potential program to promote the benefits of green gardening practices, such as electric tools, less toxic or organic resources, etc. So any comments? I think that's a good agenda topic for us. Anything to add or comment on for this agenda topic?
I just have a question on that topic.
Yes.
I know that looking at our 2021 work plan, that item was supposed to be coming up in December. If it's going to be pushed onto January, do we know what we are replacing December's agenda with?
Elaine, would you like to field that question?
I just put it in January in case we didn't get to it in December. So I think either way, it worked. I was not planning on overriding December with anything else. So I think I just kind of threw it on there in case it needed to be continued or you didn't get to it, but.
Sounds good. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So now we can move on to February. So slated for February is the odor monitoring study. And I'm really interested to see, of course, with the pandemic, all the adjustments that had to be made for that particular study, as well as I believe how the dashboard is coming on that. So this is to provide feedback on the odor monitoring efforts. So any comments on having that as an agenda topic for February? All right. Then the other February agenda topic is a continued planning for the Earth Day 2020. Any comments on that particular February item? Great. Let's move on to March. So March, we have the Silicon Valley Clean Energy update. So we would have someone from Silicon Valley Clean Energy come to our commission meeting and give an update on their decarbonization programs and their solar net metering program changes. That would be, of course, a lot of interest to folks that have solar panels on their at home, and how that impacts what interesting changes they have. I know nothing about that yet, so I'm really interested to find out about it. Any comments or questions regarding the SVCE energy update topic slated for March? All right. Then the reducing transportation emissions is something actually I had brought up. And so if you wouldn't mind me switching over, I sort of want to expand on that. Yeah, I did have to look at this. Okay, so let me explain, because Elaine asked me, well, what do you mean by this? So I had to write something. So if the proposed agenda topic is all about reducing transportation emissions, my proposal is that this commission's objective would be to identify and discuss projects and initiatives related to transportation emissions and make potential position recommendations. So let me give you some examples of what I envision this could entail. So the first example I have is discussion of the fact that the United States Postal Service, the post office, earlier this year awarded a contract for new mail delivery trucks. But the contract only specified 10% of those vehicles be electric. And then in May, and that of course was a big concern. So in May, Congress, the US Congress actually pushed for a faster phase in of or phase out of gas vehicles. And so then the 10% electric vehicle goal was changed to, and this is pretty vague, but it's now most of the mail delivery trucks will be electric, which is much better. However, this would be the type of thing that the commission would discuss and say, okay, would Milpitas want to take a position or maybe ask for all of the mail trucks used in the city to be electric, knowing that, you know, if it was just allocated without any input, that we might actually get some new mail delivery trucks that were gas engines. So, you know, this is sort of like one item that could go on the reducing transportation emissions. Another item might be what Vice Chair Kong has suggested. Perhaps look at the support, you know, a city position or for support of a hybrid work from home or work from office options for Milpitas residents and businesses where it's applicable, of course. And the purpose being to reduce vehicle miles traveled, and which is part of our transportation emissions. So I was thinking about that, and then I looked at Sunday's Mercury News, and there on the headlines was an entire extensive article on this particular topic. So I think that it's on the top of everyone's minds. And so it would, so that's an example. And then just a third example of what could go on this agenda item discussion would be maybe the support and of education programs and projects that deal with personal greenhouse gas emissions inventory. So we could discuss ways that individuals could become more cognizant of our personal GHG impacts. And so, you know, there are various educational projects out there, and that might be a discussion topic. So in understanding that the staff is very limited and is juggling just a huge amount of other topics, I would be willing to volunteer to assemble these types of items, which I would be asking commission members, commissioners, if, as you go about your reading and your normal research, if you find items that you think would fall into this category, then please forward them to me with your, of course, the references that you found. And then I would be willing to compile them and, verify them. And then a few weeks before our March meeting, say by like March 1st, I would forward that list to the staff for review. And then at the March meeting, the items, and we may have to trim down the items in order to keep it to our within a reasonable length of time for our meeting, for discussion at our March meeting. So that is my proposal for that particular agenda item. Do you have any questions regarding that?
Chair Sexton, my only concern is that we have 3 items scheduled for March. And since the transportation items, we have actually 2 separate topics. Do you think it might be a very long meeting to have SVC update along with 2 very big transportation items?
Yes, I think so. I did notice that there was on page 2 of the draft work plan that there were some opportunities to perhaps for September or December. So
And yeah, and it's up to the commission. If you guys want to kind of push one of those out and slot it in September or October, that's fine. We can make that change.
The consideration of at least on the education aspects and how to actually calculate your own GHG metrics, that's kind of timely. It may feed into any kind of Earth Day messaging we might want to put have out there. So sticking with this in March is a good idea. It may lend towards something to do with Earth Day. So
then do you think that the 3rd item that's for March right now, we might be willing to move to a different month?
let's see.
The
I
update on the vehicle on demand shuttle program?
Yeah, perhaps that we can push that to update a little bit.
Maybe to May. There looks like there's an opportunity in May.
Sounds good. But I have an overall question. I see the CAP review. Let's see, when is that? Oh shoot, I'm looking at the wrong document. No, here it is. Yeah, that's out in October. Is there a reason why it's placed there and not earlier?
Yes, that's actually an implementation update, assuming that the council will adopt the CAP update earlier in the year. And so there is, I haven't slotted the actual review of the administrative draft of the climate action plan update for the commission yet. I think I had mentioned where I'm still we're still working through timing and schedule. It will be early in 2022. We may need to do a special commission meeting so that you guys can focus on that.
Yeah. Okay, that'll be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Then we stick with the plan for March and pushing the vehicle on demand shuttle thing a little later. I think that'd be good.
Okay. Sounds great. Then we can look at the April meeting items. So we've got the recycling and garbage services and diversion, along with SB 1383 status update scheduled, as well as the street sweeping pilot results. How does that look for those two items for April? All right, that's looking okay there. For May, we've got the drought update and water conservation, which is, I think, a good timing since that's the beginning of the dry season when water usage tends to go up.
And then we also now just moved the on-demand vehicle shuttle program update to May as well.
Okay. Let's see, then June is the legislative review for possible positions. And we know that that type of discussion takes a full meeting. So I think having that one agenda item is good for June. Any comments or questions on that? All right, we take our break in
Let's see.
July.
One thing on this though, last week we were talking about possibly adding some kind of a small session on what might come of the infrastructure funds, and maybe if the Build Back Better thing passes, would that be, could we fold that into this, or I don't know, thoughts on even going over that?
That's a good question, Commissioner Lingle. It might make sense to have that discussion in June because Elaine, do you think that some of the legislative, some of the bills that we're reviewing would have to do with making use of those funds?
That's a great thought, Chair Sexton. And I must admit, I don't know if the bills would be tied to the federal funds. I don't think so, but I have not gotten a lot of detail on how or the plans for distributing those federal dollars. So I think what I've seen lately with kind of the allocation of federal dollars, like for the American Rescue Plan, is the buckets are set and the amounts are set, and then there's still a lot of figuring out how to actually distribute that. So I'm not sure yet on the infrastructure bill how that money's passing through from the federal government on down. We can definitely add it to June as an update, and we can share the information that we know at that time. But
Okay.
I suspect it will take a few months to figure out how that money was going to.
Oh yeah, I figured it was a long shot. I don't know how any of that works, but yeah, if we can just get an update, that'd be great. Just be informed. Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to add on that, I mean, we have been reading in the papers that a lot of funding, a large amount of funding, what, $66 billion is coming to Bay Area from the infrastructure bill. And there are already mentioned that some agencies such as Caltrain, VTA, BART, those are going to be the biggest benefactors of that bill. But it's also mentioned that some cities, like City of San Jose, is already planning to apply for funding to fund electric buses and so on. So I think the earlier we can talk about it, the better. So, but I understand too that because we don't even really understand that, is this something that we can partner with our representatives at the federal level, meaning like Rokana's office or something like that, to provide an update of what we can do at a city level in terms of getting, putting in our request for funding.
Vice Chair Kong, well, certainly as individuals, we can give input to Rokana's. He's very good about, as are all the assembly representatives about getting district feedback, and has town halls and where he speaks to and answers questions from individuals. But you bring up a very good question, is, how does the city communicate with representatives such as our senators and assembly members?
Are they,
On
are
the
they
federal
even
level.
involved? Yeah,
I don't know.
good to know.
Yeah, I know that the city manager's office, I'm sure, is monitoring, as well as our finance director. That's what I've seen happen with other federal funding opportunities. And there will be a series of, I think, webinars and information on how and when that funding becomes available, and how and what it can be used for. So I'm not very connected to it, but I'm sure the city manager's office and the finance department are monitoring that. So I will reach out and see if we can engage them in this update as well. And clearly there's a lot of funding for transportation infrastructure, transit, public transit. And I think the one that I've heard most recently is President Biden was talking about funding for EV charging infrastructure and really dedicating, I think it was like $8 billion to that statewide. So, or I'm sorry, nationwide. So the question will be kind of, how is that, again, is that money flowing through to local jurisdictions in grants, or is it coming to transit agencies, congestion management agencies, et cetera? So let me, I'll check with the folks who I think are watching this and keeping track of it, and see if they can provide some updates.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, let's talk about the August agenda items now. So we have the building electrification and reach codes listed here, and we don't have the commission objective. And I'm thinking that this would be sort of very similar to the reduced transportation emissions, in terms of, identifying some electrification and reach code issues that as a commission we would want to discuss. And so here again, I am willing to, as commissioners, you do your own research and hear about certain building electrification projects and reach code issues that may come up. I'm willing to assemble your discussion topics if you provide the description and your references to me, so that say by the beginning, the first day of the month, so that I can assemble them and then pass them on to staff, so that they can be reviewed and trimmed down if necessary for our agenda to be discussed for possible recommendation for support by the city for these efforts. Does anyone have any questions? Did I confuse anyone on my description there of what the commission objective would be? Okay, Elaine, how does that sound to you in terms of getting an agenda, specific agenda items together for the August discussion?
I think that's fine. we'll put reminders out for you and for the commission to send in any discussion topics specifically. I think around August, we may be also able to bring our building officials in and we can talk about where they are with the building code cycle for 2020.
Okay, right. All right. And also in August, any additional legislative review for possible positions there, sort of carryover from June. And I think that was a good idea to have that because it may be more than what the June timeframe would allow us. Any comments on the August agenda topics?
No.
All right. September, sea level rise and local impacts. I think that it's actually good to have a little bit of space in September because as the year goes along, typically sometimes it happens that we have to defer certain topics. So sea level rise and local impacts, I think this is sort of similar to how we could approach it as the building electrification and reach codes, is that we will have sort of the new and latest information on sea level rise and local impacts, as well as projects and programs that we see ongoing. And again, some of those programs or projects we might want to discuss for an official position to support such types of, a specific project or something like that. So I know that this topic is being discussed a lot, and by September of next year, we may have some specific things that may be appropriate to discuss for an official position. And so, this could be one of the items where as you come across topics on that, that we can compile the list and come up with the appropriate discussion topics or subtopics under that agenda item.
And I've mentioned this last time, it would be good to review that. But also, again, I'm waiting to see, evidence of sea level rise here. It's in the Bay Area. I don't know if it is even happening. How the tides are.
And what the forecasts are.
Yeah.
For the next few years. Yes.
That would be good to know.
Yes.
But also though, again, I think we're going to see weather patterns that just lead to flooding. And so, if we can, fold, flood plans or, I don't know, mitigation, in the event of flooding, that may also be appropriate in this time frame too.
Yes, it would be good to see what our portion of the Bay would, what the impacts would be. I do know that about 2.5 years ago, there was a large program done. It was community outreach in some cities around the Bay, particularly in East Palo Alto, which was deemed to be a community with very negative impacts from sea level rise. And so there was a large project done that got the community involved. And it reminds me that perhaps the outcome of that, but they focused on a lot of education for the community and explaining the need for what's called the sponge, the ability to absorb sea level rise, and the need for marshlands to accomplish that, and the rehabilitation of areas that once used to be marshlands and had been converted to other uses and things like that. So I think that perhaps the outcome of that study, as well as other studies that have been ongoing, would be sort of a good thing for us to look into, and then provide a summary for us to get an understanding of what's been going on and what the future is basically holds, and what other cities are doing, because by no means Milpitas will be impacted by sea level rise, but there are lots of other communities that will have much larger exposure. So we can certainly learn from them. Yeah, that's, I think, would be some research that we can bring to that discussion in September.
Commissioner Sexton, if you don't mind me chiming in, I worked on sea level rise at Hayward, and yeah, I think you're thinking of the Adapting to Rising Tides project. So there is a whole Bay Area effort that went through of mapping the Bay Area for sea level rise. So that is definitely, and then the county also did a adaptation assessment, and I believe part of our CAP looked at it as well. So I think there are definitely resources to evaluate, and happy to help share some of that.
Okay, thank you very much, Linda. Yes, Commissioner Lingle, you bring up the question, and I think that there is certainly information out there that it would be good for this commission to review on that topic. So thank you for bringing it up. Do we want to leave September as it is right now, so that we have space if something does need to get pushed into later in the year?
That's fine.
Okay, I think we can leave it at that. And then the October, the Climate Action Plan implementation update would be good. And certainly, sometime earlier, we would be having a special meeting to discuss the results of the Climate Action Plan work and review the draft. Elaine, is there a date you have yet for a draft review?
I don't have a hard date yet. It will probably be sometime in January after the holidays at this point.
Okay, all right, thank you. Looking forward to that. All right. And then we'll start the cycle of developing I think that'll be the 2023 work plan.
Oh, you're right. Oh my goodness. I'm in denial about how fast time goes.
I am too. It's amazing. And then November, we would get an update again on the recycling and garbage services and diversion, as well as the SB 1383 status update. And yes, the SB 1383 is a big deal. And so I think that would be a good time. So any other comments regarding our work plan with there's a footnote here that the Climate Action Plan update and implementation items maybe added to this agenda or the special meetings.
I have one more. Sometime around May or June, it would be good to at least just get a little bit of an update to go over mitigation plans for extreme heat coming up in the summer. It would be great just to review, cooling station, plans and power for those cooling station plans and things like this, just in case we get nailed by,
Yeah, Elaine, I imagine that there's some department in the city that is handling that. So Commissioner Lingle, are you asking for an update from that department?
Yeah, just a quick, just to be informed, or nothing serious. I think we've got a pretty full docket as it is in these months. So, but yeah, if we can work some kind of a short update, that'd be great.
Yes. Well, the wildfire season and the heat season starts, so probably June or July, right? So you'd be looking at something before then.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, let me follow up. So we do have an Office of Emergency Services that works out of our fire department. And so we do have an emergency services coordinator who works closely with the county as well as with our recreation department whenever we do need to set up cooling centers, clean air centers. Hopefully, well, yeah, and by June of next year, both the senior center and the community center solar microgrids will be up too. So those facilities will be available and could be up and running in case of power outages and power shutdowns. So let me see if I can get them to come in and provide a quick update.
Okay, that would be great. Yes, really interested to hear how the microgrid project, when is it slated to be completed?
It should be completed by end of February.
Okay, great. So yes, in time for next year's heat and wildfire season. Great. Okay. Any other comments on agenda topics for next year?
Let's see, in that one in May, the drought update and water conservation, I would really love to understand, I guess, our roadmap for outfitting more of the parks and the schools for reclaimed water. I know we've got limited funds and all that, and that might actually be something we may want to pitch a grant for off of for infrastructure. But yeah, if we can get fold a reclaimed water roadmap into that topic, that'd be great.
Okay, yes, reclaimed water is a good topic to cover with our water conservation discussion. Okay.
Just to add on to what Commissioner Lingle just mentioned, is that possible to also get an update about alternate water source that, or this how to augment the water source if in the event of a drought? I think this was something where I remember the last time we talked about it, Tony may have mentioned that there is a plan in place for the city to look at augmenting the water supply. I hope I remember it right.
Yeah, are you talking about the Silicon Valley Advanced Water Purification Plant?
I think beyond that,
There are plans. I think it was part of the water master plan and kind of tied to where we are with water supply overall, that we would be looking at building out some of our groundwater wells to augment the city's supply from Valley Water or from San Francisco. So we can go over kind of do a high level overview of water supply sources and projections as well at that. It starts to get pretty meaty. I think, Patty, what you were talking about too would involve bringing someone like Valley Water in to talk about their plans for indirect potable recharge as another water supply for all of Santa Clara County.
Yes. Well, actually, that
The
kind of
topic is
information.
ballooning pretty big, so I think as we
Yes.
get closer, we may want to hone in more. The good thing about putting this in May is, I believe April is the time when we actually do get a indication of how much it's, what the level of snowpack is, and start to really look at what our water supply situation is for the upcoming year.
Thank you, Elaine. I believe that some information is readily available. I know that the Silicon Valley Advanced Water Purification Plant does a great job of having both, well, it used to be in-person tours. They have now been, for the last year or so, been offering virtual tours of that. And I years ago, I went on one of the in-person tours, and it was very educational, as well as tasting the water that came out of the purification plant. So I don't think that it's totally necessary to bring in people from representatives from all of the different areas. But when we do have a broad topic like this on the agenda, to be able to have URLs or links to where information is available for reading.
Okay, that sounds good. And if I did hear Vice Chair Kong correctly, she was more focused on local water supply augmentation. So we can focus it on.
Sounds good. Okay. All right. So I think that concludes our discussion of the 2022 work plan. So at this point, if we don't have any other discussion, Elaine, I think it would be appropriate for us to vote on this work plan being proposed to the City Council for their approval. Okay.
Yes,
Great.
incorporating all the changes that were discussed tonight. Yes.
Yes. Yes. So do I hear a motion to approve the 2022 Commission work plan as discussed tonight? Is there someone who's willing to propose that for us tonight?
Sure. I motion to approve the 2022 Commission work plan as discussed and modified tonight.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Lingle. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner
second.
Hogg. Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Hogg, for the second. All right, can we go ahead and take a roll call vote?
Sure. Vice Chair Kong,
Aye.
Commissioner Lingle,
Aye.
Commissioner Salian,
Aye.
Chair Sexton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Hogg.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. We are down to our city liaison reports. So any staff reports?
Yes, just a few, since we did just meet last week. I did want to clarify for the Silicon Valley Clean Energy Community Leadership Group, we do have to make sure we don't have more than 4 commissioners participating, because that constitutes a quorum of the commission and would require Brown acting that meeting. So if you are interested in participating, please let Patty and I know, and then we'll make sure that if we do have more than 4 interested, that we'll work with you to draw straws or narrow it down.
That's right. Thank you very much, Elena. Yes, we want to make sure that we don't have a quorum of this commission appearing at any meeting. Okay.
Oh, yes. And then as Councilmember Chua mentioned, the City Council last night did take action to pass revisions to the municipal code required to implement Senate Bill 1383, which is what you all received an update on from Evan and Alan a few months ago. So we are moving forward with implementation. That was the first reading of the ordinance and the code changes, and then council will be adopting them December 7th, and they go into effect in January. Then you'll start hearing a lot more about the importance of diverting organic waste, and we'll be getting a lot more education and information out to the community, to our businesses and our apartments. And that outreach has already begun to food generators that they need to donate and start to make arrangements to donate any edible food so that can be provided to nonprofit organizations and distributed out to those who are food insecure. So lots happening on the solid waste front, and lots of good things to come.
Great. Thank you very much, Elaine. And I'm so glad that the city is just, moving right ahead to implement all these things that really are common sense things to do. So I'm glad we're all behind it.
So can I add a little bit here? Elaine pointed out I've been talking about, plastics recycling for, years. And Elaine pointed out quite a while ago a company that actually takes in more plastics other than just those, like, arbitrary plastic bags, and, recycles those as well. It's a company called Novaloop. I looked into it just recently, and it turns out our plastics are going they make their way over to green waste recovery. And Novaloop is in partnership with them. And so some of that plastic is heading in, into their chain for, processing. So they're trying to extend and expand the plastics recycling beyond just, the limited stuff. So definitely encouraging to see that, at least, we, Milpitas is, participating in that. It's cool.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Lingle. If you wouldn't mind, could you send, if there's a website with that information, send it to Elaine so that we can read about it also. That would be great. And now that you bring that up, Commissioner Lingle, I do want to share something that I did on a personal level today. And I found a business or service locally a few weeks ago, and I scheduled a pickup of all my pandemic accumulation in my garage of all the ice packs that came with my refrigerated foods deliveries, all my plastic containers, those black rectangular things with the top, or the round containers with the top. And during the pandemic, I actually, instead of putting those in the recycling bin, I washed them and I stored them in my garage. And I was able to, as well as the insulated bags, those sort of aluminum foil quilted looking bags that cold things come in. And I had, just a large shelf's worth. Anyway, I was able to get all of that picked up today, and they will be reused one step better than recycling. They'll be reused. And so if anyone is interested in knowing about that service, I'll be happy to share that information also. Okay, so any other reports or announcements? Okay, then at this point, seeing that we have completed our agenda for tonight, I'll call for adjournment, and I look forward to meeting all of you again at our next meeting in December. So thanks very much. Good night, everyone.
Good
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Linda, for your support.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.